Hello again. This video was not inherently requested, but I did tell Ali that I would put something together with the method that I use for interpreting arterial blood gas readouts, which is the metabolic and respiratory acidosis alkalosis business we did earlier this week. I know for some people that I've done this with in the past, it made more sense than the Rome method that he was talking about. If the Rome method works, this doesn't work any better or any worse. It's just a different method. It works better for me, so I thought that I would put pen to paper for it. My method is a little bit more algorithmic, but it does require that instead of interpreting whether or not the values are just high or low, you interpret them specifically as acidic or basic, which is really, I think, what turns some people off from this. But if the whole acidic slash basic thing is something that you already feel pretty confident on, then this method, I think, makes things quite a bit easier. So some of you might have seen me do this on the board today. My method, there's three parts to every one of these analyses. There's a compensation, which is just it is or it is not compensated. There is a system, and there is a disorder. And those will sort of make themselves evident in a second. The first thing that I'll say, step one in all of these is going to be, is everything normal? Because, you don't want to go through this whole process just to figure out at the very end that all of them were within normal limits and you turned your brain inside out trying to figure out what was going on. So first thing, always check, just do sort of a quick check. Is everything already within normal limits? Here, that's clearly not the case. You can already see that this pH and this bicarb are both outside the normal limits. So we know right away everything is not normal. So the next one is the pH. Is it acidic or basic? In this case, it's very slightly basic. Our normal is 7.45 and it's 7.46. So this is going to be, and I'll try and color coordinate these things. This is going to be basic. That already automatically tells us our disorder is alkalosis. The pH is always tied directly to the disorder. So if it were acidic, it would be acidosis. It's basic here, so it's alkalosis. Next, we're just going to identify what these other two things are. So our PaCO2 should be 35 to 45, so that's normal. And our bicarb, this value right here, is 33, which is high for bicarb, which means that it is also basic. So now that we have laid out that initial formulary, step 3 is what matches pH. So what I mean by that is here you can see that the pH is basic and the bicarb is basic. And we know that bicarb is related to metabolism. And that this would have been our respiratory. So our bicarb being basic and that matching the pH, the fact that these two are the same thing, means that this is metabolic alkalosis. And then the last thing that we do is we just look and see what is left. So here you can see that the PaCO2 is normal. It's within its normal limits, which means this is uncompensated. If the PaCO2 had been outside of its normal limits, either up or down, then this would be partially or fully compensated. But because the PaCO2 is not trying to become more acidic to balance the alkalinity that this solution has right now. This is uncompensated metabolic acidosis. Now, I'm sure that first time seemed even more confusing than the Rome method. But I do think that if you follow these steps concretely every time, it becomes much simpler to do it this way. So I'm going to just slide this down if I can. Doesn't seem like it wants me to. Okay, that's fine. And we're going to go through this same checklist, but with a different problem. So let's do pH 7.35, PaCO2, (48), and HCO3, 28. So we're going to follow the same list of steps here. First of all, is everything normal? Well, our pH here actually is normal. So I'll go ahead and I'll note that down right now. Our pH is normal. 7.35 to 7.45 is technically within our normal range. Is everything else normal? Well, PaCO2 right off the bat, this is not normal. PaCO2 of 48, that's acidic. And an HCO3 of 28, well, that's basic. That's higher than we would expect for HCO3. So what this tells us is everything normal? No. We can cross that one off once again. Previous question, everything wasn't normal, and everything isn't normal here either. Our pH is normal. So let me put out my 3 lines again. Now this is where we started to get a little tricky in class, and we mixed things up a few times. Our pH is technically normal. 7.35 to 7.45 is our normal range. But these are not normal, which means that we still have to have a disorder of some kind. Remember, this last box over here is our disorder, and we know it's related to the pH. So this is the time when we say, okay, so our pH is technically normal, but it's 7.35. If our normal range is 7.35 to 7.45, then we would say that this is nearly acidic. If we had just 0.01 differences in pH units, then this would be an acidic pH. That's the difference between holding your breath for another few seconds. So we're going to say this is nearly acidic. And just like in our previous question, we get to 2 pH here. That means that our disorder is acidosis. Remember that our disorder and our pH always match each other. Now, from here, everything flows exactly like the previous question. So, part 3, what matches the pH? Here, it's our PaCO2. The pH is acidic, the PaCO2 is acidic. So this is respiratory acidosis because our PaCO2 goes with our lungs. Those are lungs. They look like balls, but they're lungs. That's our system. And then for our first box here, our compensation, because our HCO3 here is basic, this is compensated. Our HCO3 is trying to counteract what is happening to our pH. Our pH is being pulled downward, and our HCO3 is rising to try and counteract it. This type of question is the one that we ran into in class where, see if I can do this in a readable way. Our pH is down, our PaCO2 is up, and our HCO3 is up, which means that this could technically, our pH is technically normal. So this could technically represent 2 different situations. We need to recognize that the pH is normal, but it is nearly acidic. All right. I'd like to do one more similar one. And then if people are interested in this method, but are a little confused and would like to know more, obviously, as always, people can reach out to me. Okay, so the last one I would like to take a look at just quickly is a pH of 7.44, a PaCO2 of 28, and an HCO3 of 16. Now, this is going to be similar to the previous question, but I think those are the ones most likely to be confusing. So part one, is everything normal? Well, once again, our pH is normal, but we can see that our PaCO2 here is low. This is quite basic. And our HCO3 here is also low, which for that means that it's quite acidic. So everything is not normal. pH is normal, the other two are not. So we need to do the same recognition that we did last time to note that 7.44 is very, very close to the high end of our normal pH range, which means that this is going to be nearly basic. Now, once again, everything flows quite quickly. Our disorder comes from pH. This is alkalosis because our pH is nearly basic. Our system is whatever matches that. So we did that. What matches the pH? Once again, here, it's the respiratory system. This is basic. So that this is going to be respiratory alkalosis. And then same thing, what is left? We have that the HCO3 is acidic, the opposite of our disorder. It's trying to pull that pH down because it's starting to get too high, which means that this is compensated respiratory alkalosis. Hopefully that was less confusing, at least for someone. This is the method that makes the most sense to me. The arrows start to confuse me after a little bit. So let me know if anyone has any questions or concerns.